who have lived all his life here, did you ever felt like an outsider?
Do I define myself or do I let other people define me? And it can be difficult, you know what I mean? I was born here, but I'm not trying to be white, I'm trying to be me.
Omar Tufail, a dynamic tech founder, advisor, and innovator on a mission to shape the future of software and startups. Omar bridges the gap between technical execution and strategic growth. He advises startups on product architecture, scaling, and sustainable technology practices, helping visionaries turn ideas into robust real-world solutions.
How did you got the hunger to succeed?
Just watching my parents, seeing them come from 0 to 1 and then to 100. You know what I mean? They smashed it out of the park. And I was like, I want to be like that.
How did you want founders after you to remember?
Steve Jobs said, I don't want to be the richest guy in the graveyard. Not only just remembered, being remembered is less than that. It's while I'm alive. I want to feel that I'm doing something that's meaningful, purposeful. I'm doing something with this life that I've got, which is a massive privilege. It's being alive. I did that. I made this difference. I helped that person. Because that is just so rewarding. You know, when you help someone out, it's indescribable.
Everybody, welcome once again. Today I have with me Omar. Omar is the CEO of Loopsio, and in a moment we are going to be getting into how he started and how he's succeeding and his plan for the future. It is for you if you are thinking of how do you move from 0 to 1, how do you go from idea stage to actually implementing, because a lot of people have ideas and they are unable to take the first step.
Right.
So, and if you are watching, this is for you. Now, Omar, I would like to hand over to you. So, my first question to you is going to be, what was your childhood like?
Wow, that is a deep question.
Yeah, we are starting from
this
from
feels
the
like
beginning.
a proper therapy session. I'm loving it already. And that, so yeah, thanks for inviting me here. Super happy to be here. My name's Omar. I'm the CEO of Loopsio, which is a software services company based in Glasgow. And we'll obviously get into like what that means and what we do. But let's go back to your question about my childhood. Do you know, funnily enough, I grew up just like 15 minutes down the road from here.
Really?
No way. Seriously. I went to school in Ibrox Primary, right, which is just 15 minutes from here. And it means a lot to me to recognize that, you know, that's where I grew up and how these factors influenced who I am today. And it's super important to me to, you know, recognize my identity. And that's been a journey though. I mean, it's super important to me to recognize who I am and be authentic. I don't want to be a caricature or a representation of anything other than what I really am. So being true to my identity and who I am authentically. So that includes, you know, where I grew up. I grew up in Paisley Road West, which is just down the road from here. I went to Ibrox Primary, and obviously I'm of a heritage which isn't indigenous to this country. So I'm a mix of a whole bunch of things, and each of those things I'm proud of, and they make me who I am. And I make sure that the company that I'm building is the kind of place that someone like me could fit into and be themselves. So yeah, on the surface we do software and we do tech and AI and all this cool stuff, but at the core of this company that I'm building is authenticity, right? So I want myself to be true to who I am in this company. I want the people that we attract and the people that work in this company to be true to themselves. Not only because that's a good thing to do, but because it just makes a better business. When we speak to customers, we want them to be authentic and true.
Definitely.
And then when we speak to them in meetings, the honesty and transparency is just the core of how we communicate with customers. And that's, again, not just a nice thing to do, because it is a nice thing to do, but it leads to better outcomes. It leads to just less miscommunication. It leads to better just products and services. So you triggered me there with that question about my childhood, but it all comes together for me in building a business that is true, is authentic, that people can trust. And yeah, that's, I suppose, a little bit about my childhood, but there's more there.
That's amazing. There is a reason why we start from there, so that we can know where you're coming from and to know where you are.
Right.
It's to give a little bit more of context. This helps more people who probably are from that similar background,
right,
to be able to say, if he has gone through this, if you have
right,
gone,
yeah,
and he's here this time,
anyone can do anything.
Gives me
yeah,
a little bit of hope, a little bit of faith in myself that I can also do this.
Sure.
So we are still going to be, we are still spending some time in your childhood. Right. So the next question I wanted to ask is, was there anything your parent taught you while you were young that prepared you for what you are doing today? A little bit of context to that. I am of the opinion that the right family brings, family is the smallest unit of a society, right, and if the family is right, the children are right, everybody is right, the society at large will be right.
Yeah.
So I just want to understand from your perspective, how did your childhood, how did it shape what you are doing today at Loopsio?
I believe that as well. Like, obviously, it's a super advantage if you've got a secure and loving family to which to build your life, right? And the opposite, a negative and a toxic environment can have like a real drag on you. So yeah, I'm super grateful. I mean, my family, my parents came from Pakistan. My dad came here when he was 16 on his own, and that mindset to succeed obviously is something that I was brought up with. He just, because he was like, I've got nothing back home. His dad passed away when he was young, and there was a lot of like political turmoil in that region of the world at that time, and he was like, I hear about people going to the UK, I want to go as well. He was like 16, and he got on a train. He asked someone for the money for the plane ride over, and he just came, and he had like a £5 or £10 or something in his pocket. So, and it's not a unique story. Thousands of people have done that. It's the immigrant story. Where you give everything up for a better life, and there's no guarantee that you're going to get it. But that hunger and that drive to succeed is obviously something that I grew up with every single day. And yeah, I mean, I suppose my parents, from day one, just watching them struggle and try and build a better life, not just for themselves, but for me and my siblings, and then not just for us as a one family unit, but like a whole, like, just generation of people that they uplifted. And again, they weren't unique in that. So many people from all over the world do that, and it happens still today. But that's what I grew up with. Awesome.
Awesome. So you did made mention of something very, very important, the hunger to succeed.
Yeah.
I was chatting with somebody, and he said, I gave somebody the idea to do something because I know he has all of the resources to do it.
Right.
But he has the money to do it, the connection to do it.
Doesn't have the hunger.
But he's not doing it. I said, if you don't have the hunger, you don't have it. If you don't have it, you don't have it.
Yeah.
So how do one have hunger for success? And because of course this must have been what have propelled you to start building Loopsio, and you are doing an amazing job.
Right. Thanks. How do you get the hunger? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm thinking, is that something?
I mean, for you, how did you get the hunger to succeed?
How did I get the hunger to succeed? Just watching my parents, seeing them come from 0 to 1 and then to 100. So I mean, they smashed it out the park, and I was like, I want to be like that. I want to do what they did, because I've seen the opposite as well. I've seen people not be able to go from 0 to 1 to 100, and I don't want that life. And I was saying to someone that I work with, I want to go to the moon, right? That's the ambition. But I might not get there, right? And that's fine. I don't want to die having an ambition to cross the road. Just kill me now. Just, do you know what I mean? That is not a goal. Because you could go, well, Omar, that's more feasible. You're more likely to achieve that. And I can see the steps from this side of the road to that side of the road. And yeah, I can see it. It's right there. But that's not a goal that drives me. That's not a goal that makes me hungry. That's not a goal that makes me want to get up in the morning. Getting to the moon is a goal it's a big goal. And again, I might not get there, but I don't want to set a goal that's just, it's just so achievable. Why not set yourself up with a goal that's like big, that's going to drive you, that's going to energize you, and then obviously energize the people around you. So I suppose it depends what you want out of life. I told someone what I'm doing, and they were like, do you know what, Omar, I'm just happy with my 9 to 5. And I thought, do you know what? Good. That's good for you, but that's not good for me. But what's good for me is not good for you. So you do you, and me do me.
Yeah. We still going back to the place of hunger. Some people have it, some people don't, which is all. Which is fine.
Yeah, I mean, you do what you need to do. I don't want to, force my, ambition on you, and I don't want to like take what you're doing for me. Again, it comes back to authenticity. Do the thing that feels right for you. Be true to yourself.
That's so deep. That's so amazing. So the next thing I want to ask, based on what is happening in this, in the US, spilling to the UK, going to Australia now. I wanted to know, for somebody who have lived all his life here, did you ever felt like an outsider?
That's a good question. I mean, that comes back to identity as well, who I see myself as. Do I define myself, or do I let other people define me? And it can be difficult. Do you know what I mean? I was born here, but I'm not trying to be white. I'm trying to be me. And that's a mix of things. And I think it's important just to explicitly say that, because it goes back to like, who am I? At the truest level. And then all this stuff that's going on in the US and the UK, does that affect who I see myself as? It does affect me, because I'm obviously not happy with it. But it doesn't like detract me from trying to do what I'm trying to do. They're not going to make me feel any less connected to Scotland. They can't take away the fact that I was born here. I grew up here, and part of the way I am is because of the environment that I grew up in. I mean, this is deep. It's not just a case of they're wrong and I'm right. Or I do understand that the forces that have led to that reaction, but it's always more nuanced than just immigrants are bad, or they're or anyone that wears the British flag or the Scottish flag is right. And if you're white, you're right, and if you're not white, you're not right. It's more nuanced than that. The world's more complicated than that. What I feel for, though, is the people that get caught up in these simple narratives. And social media and the world that we live in today, it's just so easy to just get brainwashed. And there's a lot of brainwashed people out there on both sides. And what I would love is for a little bit of the heat to be turned down. So that, at the end of the day, we're all humans. We've all got like common needs and desires and families, like you talk about. And can we turn the heat a little bit down so we're not at war with each other? Because that just leads to like a lot of like just negative outcomes. So is there a way that we, because the world, you're not going to have like these like mono spaces where there's just white people, and then there's black people, and then there's brown people. The world is more interconnected than that, and the internet and digital technology is going to only accelerate that. So in this interconnected world, can we try and find a way to get along with each other? Can I try and find the good in you, and can you try and find the good in me, so that we can, 10x each other rather than trying to like diminish each other? Is there a way to do that? Because there is. So I suppose that's my high level overview on that. I want to build a company that people from all backgrounds come to, all beliefs, and we get judged on the work that we do, the impact that we have. So that's the company I want to build. That's the world that I want to see, where people get judged not on their color or their background, but not that we become blind to that. I celebrate who you are and you celebrate who I am. I don't want to like go, well, that doesn't mean anything. It does mean something, where you came from and what you look like. But what we should get judged on is our contribution to society. What are you contributing? What am I contributing? Am I making this world a better place? Those are the things that are important to me. So running around and just harassing people and making society just difficult, I'm not up for that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Was there something you found out when you started working that the university did not prepare you for?
That's a good question. So I went to university not through the traditional route. The traditional route being you go to school and then you go to university. I went to school and then dropped out, and then went to work in my mum and dad's business. And then doing that for a long while, I was like, I need to be doing more than this. But the reason I bring that up is that university wasn't the thing that I went to first. It was the thing I went to after having spent a long time in a real world business. And in that business, I learned about customers. How do you deal with people? How do you do customer interaction? What is a customer? And I learned that not from a theoretical, understanding, or from a professor giving me a lecture. I learned it every single day. And the funny thing is, where we are right now, my mum and dad's business was like 10 minutes that way.
Really?
In Oswald Street.
Wow.
Like 2 minutes from the central station. So I was in the heart of the city centre, and all the buses used to come in Oswald Street. So anyone that was working in the city centre, whether they were like a CEO or just on frontline desk, they were all coming in through Oswald Street. And my dad's and mum and dad's shop was the first shop. So it was a retail shop, and I would meet all sorts of people. And I say to people, I would meet CEOs and junkies on the same day. And I feel privileged that I met that spectrum of people, because each of those two categories of people and everyone in between, I got to see the good and the bad. And I had to serve them. Do you know what I mean? And I had to figure out, how do you deal with difficult people? How do you make sure the customer's satisfied? And that is the core of any business. It doesn't matter if you're selling software or donuts or Lamborghinis, right? You need to understand, what is it I'm doing here? How do I serve this customer? How do I maintain boundaries? What things am I willing to do? What things am I not willing to do? Because there's red lines here as well. When we deal with customers, I'm there offering a service, but it's not at any price. Do you know what I mean? There are things that I put in place to go, here is how we are going to interact. Here's what I want for you. I want you to be successful. Here's what we can offer. So I learned so much before I went to university. So I call that, it sounds like cheesy when I say it, but my first university. Yeah. My mum and dad's university. And everyone has that, right?
Yeah. Not everyone.
Not everyone. No, unfortunately, not everyone has that. But I was privileged enough to have that. So before I went to university, I spent a whole chunk of time in that environment, learning about a whole bunch of things, from how to manage cash flow and how to manage people, how to manage customers, all that. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it every single day. So, it wasn't easy when I look back on it either. The shop had to be open at 6 o'clock in the morning.
That's painful, man.
And it closed at 6 o'clock at night. That's a 12-hour shift, 6 days a week. But when I look back on it, it was fun. We had a riot. Me and my brothers and my sister would be there, and a whole bunch of staff would be there, mum and dad. And we were given like a lot of autonomy to do things. So that's a whole chapter of my story as well, or several chapters. What I learned there. And I learned to interact with people from all backgrounds and beliefs and positions in society. And I'm super grateful for that. So it gave me a lot of confidence as well. And it made me feel that I belong as well in a big way. So that's what gives me my rootedness. So despite what's going on in the US and the UK, no one's going to tell me who I am or where I belong, because I know through where I grew up and where I learned my first education with my parents. So that's all before going to university. But when I was there, I was like, I need to go to the next level now. I need to do something more. And then I had like an interest in technology, and I started reading books. And then I taught myself how to program.
Wow.
Yeah, standing behind the counter. I would read the books and serve customers. And I taught myself how to program. And then I built my first website. And it wasn't just like, in those days, there was no Squarespace and Wix. It wasn't like drag and drop. There was no AI. I was like hardcore coding
HTML,
this.
PHP.
HTML and PHP.
I used to do that too.
And databases, MySQL.
I hate it.
I didn't even know what a database was, but then I figured it out. I built this website. And then I was like, there was a travel agent next door, and it still exists. It's called Barhead Travel. And the guy who owned it, Mr. Monroe, he built this thing from like a tiny little company to it's a massive company now. And he would come in the shop, and I was like, and I would talk to him. And I'd go, Mr. Monroe, I'm leaving. And he's like, what? What do you mean? I was like, I'm going to start building websites. And he's like, really? Why don't you come and see what I'm doing? And he had this massive like tech team, and he introduced me to the team, and he was like, Omar's going to join the team, and tell us what you know, Omar. So I was like, I've learned all this stuff, and I was telling them all about social media and all this kind of thing. And so that was the first thing that happened after I left the shop. I started working for Mr. Monroe and his travel agent next door. And that was so amazing, because he gave me, like, he didn't look at like, here's this, just like, who's this guy? He's not got a university degree or nothing. He gave me full access to people in the company, and he believed in me. And I was like, let's go. So we were doing all sorts of cool stuff in this massive. So 1 minute I'm behind this counter selling like, newspapers and sweets. And the next thing I'm in this travel agent. So it just shows you anything can happen in a second through just a connection. But yeah, that happened. And then I started making websites for people. But then I was like, do you know what? I'm just making this up as I go. I don't have a formal education. Maybe these people in the university know something that I don't know. I need to get educated. So I didn't have any qualifications though to go to university. So I did an access course, which was a year-long hardcore physics and maths crash course to get me into university. And I was hungry. I was like, I need to do this. And I smashed that. I got into university, and I did this degree, computing science. And then I thought, when I went to university, because I never thought I would ever be in that environment, I was like, in every lecture, just soaking it up. I was like, I can't believe this guy's talking about algorithms, and she's talking about operating systems. I'd be like 100% soaking it all up. I wasn't like, I can't be bothered being here. I was hungry for it, because I would look around the lecture room, and a lot of people were like cruising. A lot of people were hungry as well, but I was one of those I'm so glad to be here. You know, I want to pick everything up. And then what happened after that? Then I thought, I love this. I'm going to do a master's. And I did a master's. And then the stuff that I was doing in my undergrad and my master's, my dissertation, it was looking at how do you bridge this gap between academia and industry, because I had come from the real world.
We are going to talk about that. I learned, my research showed that you turned your research into a business. All of the things you've mentioned about how you first went to work for your parents. So all of the things that you've mentioned, you know, you deciding to go work for your parents for a little bit, working for that travel agent to gain real life experience.
Yeah.
Taking a 1 year crash course in math and physics to be able to quickly be able to go to the university.
Yeah.
Then, you know, I think all of these things prepared you to see things from another perspective. So that means whenever you are seeing the teacher, the lecturer teach about algorithm, you know, databases, there are things that you've struggled with in the real life.
Yep.
You know how important it is in the real life. You know, it is not this for you is not just about passing the course.
No.
You know, this an information, you know, you if you soak it
I
up,
can see
you
where
can see how it's going to benefit you outside of school. And again, this now went further. You took this further and you did you turned your research into something that is a pain point to you.
Yeah.
That is how do we connect academia to the real world?
Yeah.
And you turn this into what you're still working on right now as Loopsio.
Yep.
I want you to talk to me a little bit about how did you came about all of these things? What made you decide to turn your research into the work you do now? How are you able to recognize the opportunity? How do you spot that opportunity?
You know, there's no one moment, I suppose, where I went, right, you know, this is a great opportunity. I suppose it was like a progression in that when I was in my final year and during my master's, I was looking at, I had learned so much about software engineering, and you're right, I had practical experience. So while I was at university, I was able to see how the stuff I was learning fit into a real world context. And that is something that students don't get at university in the main. You mostly learn about the theory of things, and yeah, you might do projects here and you might do an internship there. And those are super useful because they allow you to see the connection between what you're learning and the real world. Otherwise, you're just going to become an academic, right? Yeah. And most people like that go at university, 90% of them go out into the real world. And the thing is, when you go out into the world of industry, then there's a gap between you entering that world and you being useful in that world, because you don't know how it works. You don't know how to interact with people. You don't know the ABC or the terms or the things that matter. So you're a junior, you get mentored and you shadow people to learn all of that. And that's what's called experience. But I went into university with that kind of reversed. I learned about customers. I learned about all that stuff. What I was missing was a formalized, structured way to understand the technical side. And so while I was at university, I was like researching this gap because I knew it was there. And academia knows it's there as well. And industry knows it's there. So I wasn't the first one to spot this gap. There's a whole literature, like academic literature about this gap. How do you minimize it? How do you take people out of university or a formal learning environment and make them productive in the real world? Because it costs money to train people up to be productive. It takes time, it takes energy, and that's why experience is valued. You know, if you say to me, Omar, I've got 5 years of experience, I'm thinking, right, I don't need to take this guy from 0. He's at 5. I need to take him to 6. But if I need to take you from 0, that's a lot of effort. But the reason companies do that is it because people at that end, they have a lot of value to give in terms of new ideas, energy, innovation. And so companies take these new people on because you need new people to replace the people going out of the company.
Yeah.
There's a big cost there. So companies want to reduce that. The world wants to reduce that. Well, young people want to reduce that because what's going on right now is that you've got young people going to university who are learning about computing science and software engineering, and to pay the bills, they're stacking shelves at Tesco while they're at university. And I'm like, that's just nuts. You know about databases, you know about backends, you know about APIs and all that stuff. Why are you doing that job to pay the bills? So I was like, wouldn't it be cool if you could get work experience while you're at university and get paid, and by the time you graduate, you're not going out into the world with a bare minimum of experience. You've dealt with like 5 customers already. You've seen, the challenges that come from interacting with people in a team. You've pulled a project over the line. So that was the thinking, like, why are these young people not being, productive while they're at university? They want the money and the experience. So the demand is there from them. The demand is there from industry to have young people coming out of universities with more than just a degree. So there was all sorts of like signals, and there was a desire for me to work in tech and to work with like talented young people at university and be connected to industry. So there was all sorts of things that ticked the box for me, and there was all sorts of things in the market that were like, we want this. So
Awesome.
that was it.
So I think my next question for you is, while building this Loopsio,
Right.
your company, I don't assume it has been always been good.
No,
There has been good days and bad days.
definitely
Have you come to a point where you think you should just throw in the towel, and
not yet.
what has been the lowest moment for you?
Oh, what has been the lowest? The lowest, that's the thing about entrepreneurship, it can go super high and it can go super low. And a lot of entrepreneurs are going to be able to relate to that, because it's kind of like you're exposed to just all sorts of emotions and challenges, because you're the founder. And the buck stops with you, whether it's marketing or sales or finance or talent or filling the pipeline. Every single thing you are responsible for. And I don't say that in a way whereby, oh my God, you should feel sorry for entrepreneurs. This is the life we choose. Because if I didn't want this life, I could go back to a 9-to-5, but I don't want that life. I want the life that entrepreneurship opens up, the opportunities that come through entrepreneurship. So there's a lot of like things that you're insulated from in a 9-to-5, because there's all sorts of departments and there's all sorts of processes that are ready made that you walk into. But as a startup founder, you're not protected by all of that kind of like stuff that you would be in, say, a company. And that comes with opportunities, and it comes with challenges as well. So you do have massive highs and you do have massive lows. I mean, the massive lows are just like, oh my God, what am I doing? What's going on? We're never going to survive. Oh my God, what have I got myself into? How am I going to get out of this dead end? But that forces you to be, the survival instinct kicks in. And you're not going to survive if you're not hungry. So you need to be hungry, right, to survive. But when that kind of like life or death scenario, it's not life or death. You're not going to die. But there is a survival instinct that kicks in. And you're able to access, I suppose, resources within yourself that are vital to then making sure you don't die at that particular point. But the thing that triggers those, survival instincts are like some difficult situations, like, and you could, like, the company could end.
Yeah.
And so the lows can get super low, but then the highs can get super high. So there's no, there's no reward without risk. And that's the journey you go on as an entrepreneur. I don't want a ceiling decided by someone else to go, Omar, you get paid this much this year, and these are the holidays that you get, and here's what you can do, and here's what you can't do. And so it comes back to my personality, I suppose, and every entrepreneur's personality. I don't like being told what to do. So I'm happy to work with people in a collaborative environment, but I don't want to fit into a box. That's the thing. And every entrepreneur doesn't want to you make your own box, and you make the rules, and you build things up, you write your own story, and that's the reward.
Wow.
There's a lot of risk that comes with that.
Yeah, talking about a lot of risk that is involved.
Yeah.
Well, entrepreneurship is one of the most difficult things, the most dangerous thing, the most financially draining thing, emotionally draining thing you can do. Bar some other, very, very...
What's the alternative?
No, I'm saying...
9 to 5. I don't want that. And neither does any entrepreneur.
No. 9 to 5 is there. It is... You are sure you are going to get paid.
There's a lot of benefits of a 9 to 5. I'm not...
benefits. Yeah, so...
Not everyone... If everyone was going to be an entrepreneur, then that'd be weird. Do you know what I mean? We're all different. So it goes back to what I said. Do you.
Yeah. So the next question I wanted to ask is, you said you do you, but did you have people around you that advised you against doing this thing?
Yeah.
Tell me about it. And how did you respond? This is for people who are going through that phase now where they are trying to do a business and they have people and discouraging them that this is dangerous, this is, you could fail at this business.
Yeah, you could fail. Yeah.
What do you tell them? And when you are going through your own, how did you go through that? And how did you respond to that?
The doubts and that kind of stuff is not just external, it's internal as well. Your internal voice is also like, should you be doing this? And then you've got these external forces also. Some people going, don't do that. Why are you doing that? Like, for example, after I did my degree, I worked at the university for 5 years, mentoring and supervising students, using the research that I had done. I tried this thing before I launched Loopsio. I did it at the university for 5 years.
Wow.
Internally, working with stakeholders within university, and that was so helpful to me to understand like how an organization functions and how to provide this service. So the university gave me so much. It gave me an education, but I gave so much back to the university as well. I'm not going to discount that. But yeah, I'm happy with, I learned so much, but I also gave so much back. But that 5 years was just massively illuminating and helpful and vital for what I was going to do after, which is launch Loopsio outside the university. But back to your question about, what was it, the risks? The people that...
did anybody try
to tell me not to do it. So the reason I bring up that I worked at the university for 5 years was that, people were like, bro, that's like a cushy job. Why? You're getting paid, it's relaxed, you work at the university is not going to go anywhere, it's been here for hundreds and thousands of years. Just do that. Just do that. And I was like, I was just becoming more and more just convinced that wasn't what I was going to do. And this energy was building up inside me every single day. And it was just getting to the point where I was just going to burst. And I was like, I can't stay here anymore. I know I'm getting paid. I know it's cushy. But I I can't stay here anymore. And so I just left then, you know, and I told the university, and then they were like, don't leave, this and that. And then I went part-time. So I was full-time, and then I went part-time. I was like 4 days a week, and then it was 3 days a week. And then it was getting to the point where, do you know what? I need to go. But they were super like flexible, and they made it easy for me to make that transition. But I learned a lot of things from the university, good and bad. And I'm of the opinion, you know, good things are obviously good, but bad things are good as well. And if you learn from them, you know, I learned how not to manage people from other people that I saw who were in leadership positions. And I was like, just because you're in a leadership position doesn't make you a leader. You know, the way they would do things, I was like, I'm not going to do things like that. And then there was so many things that I learned that I was like, I like that. I'm going to do things like that. So I suppose, you know, alongside being hungry, you should be, my advice would be curious.
Be curious.
You know, what makes this world work? Why are some people successful? Why is he doing that? Why is she doing that? How come that led to this? You know, I'm curious about the world. How does it work? How do big companies become big companies? Why did Apple become Apple? Why is Mark Zuckerberg, you know, doing what he's doing? Why even Trump and everything? I'm curious about everything. And so have curiosity, because that feeds your understanding of how things work, and then you can use that in your company.
That's good. So the next thing I want to talk to you about is mindset. The question is mindset.
All right, yeah.
It's possible for you to have a mindset, and after a series of trials and tribulations and wins and lose, you then get to reassess previous mindset that you have.
Yeah.
Was there any mindset you have 5 years ago that you no longer hold there today? Have you hold an assumption that the last 5 years has tested and you've changed your mind? Is there any?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the one that immediately comes to mind is just not compromising on who I am, I suppose. Not trying to fit in for the sake of fitting in, not being, you know, silent because that's the easier route. And so again, it all comes back to authenticity for me. You know, so speaking up when I feel like I've got something to say. I need to say something here. So I suppose for 5 years ago, I was more inclined to try and fit in, more inclined to not say what I really felt. But it hasn't just been like I woke up one day and I went, right, I'm going to just start speaking my mind. It's been a gradual progression. It's a maturing. Like everyone, you know, you mature, you learn, and you reassess, and you go, do you know, I'm not going to do that thing anymore because that doesn't make me feel good. That doesn't make me happy. And I don't want to be like, I don't want to be fake. I don't want to be false. So I want to be like, and I think that's celebrated in Scotland, and that's, you know, something I haven't spoken about too much. You know, I love Scotland, not because anyone expects it from me, but because I was born here. And there's obviously like parts to Scotland that I don't like, right? But one thing that I really do like is that Scottish willingness to just say things that need said, be true, not try and be a sly or kind of like two-faced about it. You know, the Scottish way is not being two-faced. You see, when you live here, you know whether people like you or don't, because they'll tell you to your face, or you'll get it from them. There are other, like, I suppose, places in the world where you won't get that signal so clearly. But also in Scotland, I feel people, and I've started talking about Scotland, and I'll come back to your question in a minute, but I feel like this place is just way more welcoming of people who are different. And that takes a big heart, and it's a testament to Scotland, that Scotland is, on the whole, not there aren't dafties out there, but on the whole, it's a place that it's not afraid of other people. Do you know what I mean? And see, a lot of this stuff that's going on in the US with the right wing and whatnot, it's born out of fear. And the Scottish aren't a fearful race. And that's what I love about this place. They're not scared. Just because you look different than me doesn't mean I'm scared of you. And that means I'm not going to react to you in a way that pushes you away. So a lot of this stuff that's going on in the world is born out of fear. And one thing I have a lot of respect for Scotland is they're not fearful people. They're warriors. Do you know what I mean? When you go back, this is a place where warriors were born, right? And it's a place where people are true and authentic. So going back to your question of mindset and have I changed in 5 years? Yeah, I've just become more authentic and less fearful of being who I really am. And that has only benefited me and everyone around me. It benefits me, it benefits the people I work with, it benefits customers, because they know, here's Omar, take it or leave it. And it's not like, shoved down your throat kind of thing, or take it or leave it, and I'm going to be authentic to the detriment of you. I want you to be authentic as well. So I want to create that space where we can coexist, and I can be the best I can be, and you can be the best you can be. Because guess what? Then cool things happen for both of us, right? Rising waters raise all boats. There's all these cool sayings, and they're true. So I've just become more confident in being me. But that doesn't mean I wake up every day like super confident. I have days where I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? And this and that. So I'm a human being at the end of the day. So don't deny your humanity. Don't set yourself up for failure. Give yourself that ability to have an off day or an off week or an off month or a year or whatever it is. Be kind to yourself, kind of thing. But don't deny who you really are, because that's the only thing that you've got that's unique to give to the world. You're going to try and be someone else? That's already done. The only thing that's not done is you. And there's only one Omar in the world. So I'm going to try and be the best Omar that I can be. And the same for you, and the same for anyone else. That's the thing that you should do. And I suppose I've become more confident in doing that.
That's good to know that in the last 5 years, you've only grown confident with what you do, with yourself, which definitely then reflects on the kind of work you do. Which takes me to the next question for you. Do you ever feel imposter syndrome when you work for, these big companies?
That's a good question. All these questions have been good. Do I feel imposter syndrome? No. And I think that's one of the big things that the university done for me. And that I realized, wait a minute, I'm just as smart as everyone else. Do you know what I mean? So why would I not? So I suppose one of the things that has been a big shift for me over the past 5 years has been just recognizing my value. And I want to come to every table that I come to with value. I want to give you something. I don't want to come to a table empty-handed. So, Coyote, I'm coming to this table with this.
Take £2 million.
What are you coming with? Right? It might be whatever I come with might be worth £2 million. But the thing is, I won't have a fear of asking for the equivalent value for what I'm bringing. So imposter syndrome comes when you don't recognize, I think, your own value. And you might not have value to bring to the table that other people value. So you need to build that up. You don't just get born and okay, now the world owes me all this. No, you have to work for it. Go to university or go do that course or do whatever it is you need to do to build your value. Obviously, you come into the world with intrinsic value as a human being. you need to build on top of that to go, how am I going to like transact with society? What is it I like doing? Do I like making movies, or do I want to make software? Do I want to, create, I don't know, whatever it is you want to do, clothes, fashion. Do I want to go into medicine? You don't get born with that knowledge. And as you build that knowledge, it takes work, and that builds your value. But then you've got to recognize that, wait a minute, I've got something to bring to this table, whether it's X, Y, Z experience or whatever it is, and recognizing that value and going, I deserve to be at this table. Well, why would I not deserve to be at this table? Because someone says that I can't be here? Well, screw that. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to be at this table.
That's amazing.
Because I've got value to give.
Just like everybody.
Just like everybody, right? So don't, see if anyone tries to diminish my sense or my understanding of myself, I don't want to talk to you. Because it's going in one ear and out the other. I know who I am. I know what value I bring to the table. I know how I can manage projects. I know how I can strategize and execute and change things in companies. So you're going to tell me something else? I know I can, like, for example, I can score goals. What are you going to tell me? I can't score goals. I don't deserve to be in this team. Who cares what you say? I know who I am. So imposter syndrome is when you let other people tell you that you don't belong. And if you know that you belong, then
you belong.
Yeah, I belong. Let's go.
So
let's talk about the next thing.
Yeah.
There's no imposter syndrome. I'm not an imposter, and I ain't got no syndrome.
So if, God forbid, if Loopsio disappears today,
dun, dun, dun.
What part of you will disappear with it?
What part of me would disappear? That's something I need to think about. Nothing. What do you mean, like, disappear with me? I would just try again. Just keep on, if this thing doesn't work, I'll just try again. But, in Silicon Valley, like, we look up to them in a big way. They celebrate failure because it means that you've tried. And if you've tried, you've learned what doesn't work. So if this didn't work, I would just use whatever I learned from this for the next thing. But I'm still going to the moon, whether it's in this spaceship or another spaceship. So, yeah. Obviously, I don't want this to die today. I'm invested in it. I'm emotionally attached to it. It would not make me happy. I would be deflated and depressed and sad. But it wouldn't be the end of the road for me. It'd be a hit. I'd fall down, but I'd get back up again.
That's nice. I love your analogy that you're saying you want to go to the moon, not across the street.
Yeah. Why go across the street?
I really love that. So, what does it look like for you?
So it's not just financial, but I'm not shy about being financially ambitious, right? I haven't positioned Loopsio as a social enterprise or a charity. Oh my God, these young people, give them some work experience. No. We provide, so I tell the young people as well, you provide a lot of value, so don't come to this table going, oh my God, thank you so much for this opportunity. You've got energy, you've got ideas, you've got knowledge about how these computer systems work. You live and breathe digital every day. You know things that someone with 10 years experience doesn't know. So just because you've got 10 years experience in something doesn't mean that you're better than a student at a university, because you've got different things to bring to the table. So that's a big part of it.
Financial is
a big part of it.
Yeah,
I want to have resources. Why should I not have resources? Why should I say to the students, why should you not have resources? Don't do anything. There's things where people go to students, do this and you'll get work experience, but you're not going to get paid. make sure you get paid, because I need money to pay the bills as well. But I don't want to just pay the bills. I want to do things. Money's a resource. It's a tool to do things. Look at the stuff that Elon does. You can see everything about him. And he's nuts in some ways, but he's a genius in other ways. So I look up to him in a way whereby, those bits of Elon I disagree with. And then those bits, that's pretty cool. How did he do that? How did he set up Tesla? How did he set up SpaceX? So he uses money as a resource to build these massive companies and then have this massive impact on society, good and bad. So I want access to resources as well. Why should you get all the resources? It goes back to childhood when you're in playing with. Why should you get all the toys? I want some toys. So a big part of that answering that question, how much is enough for me and Loopsio, is, well, a big part of it's financial. Because if I'm helping you 10x your company, then why should I not, get some value back? I don't want to be a struggling artist, right?
Yeah.
And you make all the money.
You keep it, then you give me experience.
Right. So a big part of it's financial, but I want to have a big impact on society. I want to do good. Being socially responsible and being socially uplifting is important to me. I want to have a positive effect on society. I want to have a positive effect on Scotland and the world.
That's good.
Because we're all going to die one day.
Yeah.
And no one's going to take any money with them. That's another thing Steve Jobs said.
Which is actually bringing me to the next question.
Right.
How would you want founders after you to remember you?
So I suppose this connects me to the thing I was just about to say, which is Steve Jobs said, I don't want to be the richest guy in the graveyard. Right? So I want not only just remembered, being remembered is less than that. It's while I'm alive. I want to feel that I'm doing something that's meaningful and purposeful and doing something with this life that I've got, which is a massive privilege. It's being alive.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
Yeah.
What are you doing with your life? I want to do something that is energizing to me, to go, I did that, I made this difference, I helped that person. Because that is just so rewarding, when you help someone out. It's indescribable, the feeling that you get from helping someone out. I want to do more of that. So I want to build Loopsio so that I can do more of that. And Loopsio is a means to an end for me. And I'm having a lot of fun doing it. But the end is really just making the world a better place, as cheesy as that sounds, because that really is the only thing that feels meaningful, and that feels when you do it, it just feels so right. And so I want to do loads of that.
Wow. Wow. So this is going to be the last set of questions we have done. Yeah. If you have any message to the world right now, what is it going to be?
Message to the world.
With what you are building with Loopsio, what change do you want to make in the world? What do you want Loopsio to achieve?
I think, talking about the social mission and whatnot is important, but I think what really the thing that really energizes me is technology in the first instance, because this is a software company, right? And so I love the promise of technology and the technology's ability to improve things in the world. Obviously, technology is not the be-all and the end-all of solving all the problems. I'm not naive that way, We're not going to just say, oh, we just need more technology here and that's going to solve poverty and health and all these really complicated problems that we have in the world. But technology's a real game changer, and it can change things in a way that is beneficial and impactful. So that energizes me, that technology has the ability to do that, whether it's electric cars or AI or everything that we're surrounded by. It's all technology that's allowed us to build this world. And so I go down these rabbit holes.
What's your message to the world?
My message to the world? No, what's the impact I want to have in the world?
Impact
I want to use technology in a way that's exciting to me and the people I work with, and it's fun. I want to use technology that benefits the world.
That's good. So then, which maybe something else, which is talking about entrepreneurship in the entrepreneurship. We want to talk about the entrepreneurship landscape in Scotland. Right. What is one mistake you see many entrepreneurs make in Scotland that you see it every time and you would like to shake the person out? No, don't do this. Is there anything like that?
Yeah, one thing comes to mind is that there are so many things you can chase as an entrepreneur that give you false validation. You could go to an event, you could get, loads of likes on LinkedIn, and you can get awards, and you can do all sorts of things, but the only thing that matters is customers and revenue. Even getting funding is good, but it's not the end goal, because you can't indefinitely just keep on getting funding. You need to get customers. So you need to, and the thing a lot of people do is they delay that inevitability of trying to find customers and molding your USP to something that customers want. And that takes time. You might have a hypothesis and you make an assumption. I think all people want this thing. And then if I just sit, in stealth for 6 months, making the thing better, or 12 months, and I go get millions of pounds of funding, and I create this amazing team, and we have these really cool offices, and we get awards, we still haven't validated whether we're going to be able to sell this thing. And until you have that conversation, until you try and sell it, you're delaying the inevitable. So some people delay this for months, sometimes years. And the longer you delay it, it's like delaying the inevitable. You have to find out one day whether customers are going to pay for this or not. And the sooner you get into that conversation with customers, the sooner you're going to find the reality of the situation. I like this, but I don't like that. I like that, I don't like this. This doesn't fit into our workflow. Can you do this? Can you do that? That's feedback that you need to put back into the product.
That's good.
So don't waste your time. Don't not go to events. You need to network and stuff. You need to let yourself know, let yourself be known online and whatnot. But don't lose sight of the fact that without paying customers, your company doesn't have a future. Because there's only so long you can survive on VC funding or grants and all that kind of stuff. So every other metric is a vanity metric. The only metric that counts is revenue.
And customer. Thank you so much.
Customers.
Thank you so much. With that, we end.
Thank you.
Do you have something you want to say?
Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you. It's been really great being here, and I wish you every success
Thank you so much,
in what you're doing.
Thank you so much, man.
Cool. Thank you.